squeal on you. They said, if you don't get out of here, we're going to burn your house down. And boy, that scared me right then and there. That was the end of it. I never said another word. No, that's, that was when Oak Street was the main road going into Montreal. You could hear them coming down. My father had an ambulance service at the time, and we could tell when they came down Oak Street if they were going to make the curve at the bridge by Dave Roberts' garage. He finally put a big buckman up there because so many people ran through the front of the garage coming around. Instead of making the curve, they'd go right through the garage. Yeah, and that doesn't seem so long ago. You know, you say 50 years ago, 55 years ago, it doesn't seem so very long ago. But the changes, you know, and like I said, I sit back and I said to myself, I don't know if we're going ahead or if we're going behind. You know, when I think of all the things that everybody was making a living. We had the Grand Union, the A&P, we had 2, 3 independent stores, you had the IGA, and everybody made a living.
That's right. And look at the clothing stores too.
Sure.
There used to be Phil Eagles and Kaufman.
Doolittle's.
Pearls. And,
Yeah, Doolittle's.
It was an agrarian society, huh?
Yeah. Well, people didn't have automobiles and it wasn't so easy to travel to Plattsburgh to the mall or something.
My gosh, you could go down the street with $5 and boy, you got a lot of groceries for $5. Now you go down $5 and you're lucky if they give you a bag and you carry it home. No,
See
that's
those beautiful homes on Oak Street? A lot of them were built by, Prohibition times, that sort of thing.
you know.
Built up their finances.
I guess anybody that ever had any money in this village bootlegged at one time or another, you know, that's for sure. You know, it's, I can remember my father, he was a stubborn man. He had a boat, a small boat, and he was going down the river one day, and somebody went by with a speedboat and splashed him. Well, he said, hey, I'm going to buy a boat that won't splash me again. So he bought a bootlegger's boat. It had all the shelves into it. I can remember as a kid, it had shelves into it. That thing had an inboard motor onto it. They took us for a ride, and I was never so scared in all my life. I think my hair stood right straight up in my head. But there wasn't anybody could go by him with that thing. But it was a big, heavy boat. We was having an awful time bringing it up in the yard in the fall of the year. But all the containers that they had, and they claimed that nobody could catch them out in the lake. Once they got out in the lake, that they couldn't catch them. You know, and it's. But like I said, the bootleggers, my gosh, one day they'd have 7 or 8 cars, and the next day they were in jail and they didn't have anything. And I can remember going down to the dump. The troopers would come down to the dump, which was down at Bill Earl's, and they'd bring the bags. There was 12 bottles to a bag. They'd take their pistols and they'd fire at the bags. And of course, then we kids would run in and we'd grab the bottles that weren't broken. And we had strings and a cork and a ribbon. Each one of us had a different colored ribbon. And that was your bottle. You throw it out in the river as though somebody else was going to come and take it. And nobody took anybody else's bottles. And you had your customers, your steady customers. We used to get $2.50 a bottle. I can remember putting a bottle in under, walking uptown, looking around to see if anybody was going to pick me up. Yeah.
How old were you then, about?
I was about 12, 11 to 12 years old.
The Bill Journal on his
Joyce, get a sheet that looks like
he
this.
mentioned that they throw the bottles in the ditch in front of the custom house, and then
Got some notes on it.
give
I'll
them
take
a
it
quarter.
back.
Yeah.
Take it out of the ditch and bring it home.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
Mine.
realize what I was doing when I grew up.
But you sit back and think, you know, take a string and then tie a cork and a ribbon in the end of it so that each one of us had our own color ribbons. You knew where your bottle was. You'd go over and pick it up. Nobody else picked it up. You know.
Incidentally, I told Dawn about Sister Marianne and the memories to keep, and you know her, so you're going to be contacting her for.
She hasn't been in this area that long.
No, but to talk.